Well, hey, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be going over our assignment here. So, over here on the left, you can see that I've got activity 738 tolerances, and over here on the right-hand side, I've got our answer sheet. So what you guys are going to do is I've got these letters on here. Here's A, up here was B, here's C, and to the right there's D. I'm going to do A and B, a couple examples of each of these. But the first one here is A. So our first thing is, what type of tolerance is it? Well, it is a limit tolerance. So I'm simply going to type limit in there. Now, the next thing they want us to do is they want us to write down the compound inequality. And what they mean by this is what range of values would actually fit in that hole right here. So we're talking about this hole. What is the range of values that could fit in there? Well, they're telling us the greatest one could be 0.536. And whatever we're going to put in there has to be smaller than that. So what I did is I used our less than symbol and I highlighted it and hit Control U. And I'm going to say then that this one again, I'm highlighting it, hitting Control U. And I'm going to type in the smallest value. And what that says then is that the range of values that will fit in this could be 0.531, 0.532, 0.53, 0.533, 0.534, 0.535, 0.536. 0.537 would be too big because that would be over here, and 0.530 would be too small, so it wouldn't fit as well. So X stands for what values makes this, or what values could the rod be that would fit in that hole right there. So that's my compound inequality. The total tolerance then, the total tolerance is just simply us finding out how much total play do I have in there. And to do that, we just simply take the biggest one minus the smallest one, or what we refer to as the upper limit minus the lower limit. And that turns out to be then 0.005. When you subtract those two, that's what you're going to get. And again, I'm going to type this in here. That is our, what we call the upper limit, commonly referred to as UL, minus the lower limit. Alright, so that's all I'm doing there is I'm typing in the biggest number minus the smallest number. That's the upper limit, that's the highest, that's the biggest it could be, minus the smallest it could be. And when you subtract them, you get 0.005. And that's what we do there for that total tolerance. So let's take a look at B then. B was up here. Okay, 0.625. So in this case, they're not giving us any tolerances on it. So what this is then is this is what we call a general tolerance. And I know that wasn't in the notes. I'm not too worried about it because we're going over it here. General tolerance. Now the number here is 0.625. So we go down here to this is what we call our general tolerance down here. This would fit for anything. So 0.625 fits into this category right here. I'll make it a little bit bigger here so we can see it. That means it's got 3 decimal places. Alright, so that'd be 0.625. Anything with 3 decimal places has a tolerance of plus or minus 0.01. So let's go back over here now and let's look at our compound inequality. So that's 0.01. I'm going to forget that, so I'm just going to type it right here. I'll delete this. I mean, I'm just writing it there so I don't forget it. So 0.625. Well, again, that's going to be the biggest anything could be. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and you're going to see me copy that so that I don't have to type that in every single time. And I'm just simply going to subtract 0.625 minus 0.01. Well, I don't know why I'm doing it on calculator, but that turns out to be 0.615. So that's my lower limit, 0.615. Nope, don't want it over there. So I'm just going to type it in the wrong spot. And then to get the upper limit, I'm going to take this 0.625 and I'm going to add 0.01 to it. Well, that gives me 0.635. And I don't want that to be underlined. Over here, to get my total tolerance, well, that's my upper limit minus my lower limit, so I'm just going to take these two numbers, 0.635 minus 0.615, and that's going to give me an answer of 0.02. And you could say 0.020. That would be fine as well. But again, that's just my upper limit minus my lower limit. This total tolerance becomes real easy once you have your compound inequality, because you just take the biggest number and minus the smallest number, and that's your answer right there. All right, again, all we're doing is taking our biggest number, that's the upper limit, that's the upper limit, and we take our smallest one right here, that's our lowest limit, and we subtract the two. When you do that, in this case, we get 0.02. So this compound inequality is probably the hardest thing here. I'm going to go over this one more time here. How do we get this 0.531? Well, on the limit tolerance, that's pretty easy. I just took the smallest, and that's my biggest. So the limit's real easy. It becomes a little bit more difficult when we got to add and subtract. To get the 0.615, all I did was I took the 0.625 and I subtracted the 0.01. That's what I did to get the 0.615 right there. And the reason we did that is because 0.625 has 3 decimal places. So my general tolerance tells me to add or subtract 0.01. So in this case, I took the 0.625 and I subtracted that 0.01, and that's how I got the 0.615. The way I get the 635 then is my general tolerance tells me to also add. It tells me to subtract and add. So I added the two, and that's how I got the 0.635. Well, hey, that's a long enough video on this. Hopefully that helped you guys.